This week on The Watchman, we are in Ashkelon, Israel, just 6 miles from the Gaza border, and where I am standing right now, this apartment building, you see the destruction around me? Less than 24 hours ago, a Hamas rocket struck right here. 1 man was killed, 2 women severely injured. It's all part of a Hamas escalation, a terror onslaught, the rockets and the missiles targeting the communities of southern Israel. We will bring you the on-the-ground, inside story this week on The Watchman from southern Israel. The war with Hamas is heating up. And welcome to The Watchman, where I am standing right now. Just last night, less than 24 hours ago, was the scene of a Hamas rocket attack in this apartment building. 1 person was killed, 2 severely injured as Hamas escalates an onslaught, a rocket and missile barrage against the communities of southern Israel. Now, right now, folks, we are standing in Ashkelon. We're about 6 miles from the Gaza border. You can see the horrific damage behind me to this apartment building. Over the past 24 hours, Hamas has fired, Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad, these Iran-backed terrorist organizations have fired over 400 rockets, missiles, and mortar shells at the communities of southern Israel, not only here in Ashkelon, but Ashdod, Sderot, the kibbutzes around southern Israel. They are facing this onslaught. Now, thankfully, Israel has Iron Dome. The anti-missile defense system has taken a lot of these rockets and missiles out of the sky. The IDF, the Israel Defense Forces, are on alert. They are ready to face down Hamas. But look, folks, this has persisted for over a decade now. Hamas continues to escalate. They're not going to change because then they wouldn't be Hamas. They're not going to lay down their arms. What's the solution long term? We don't know. But today on The Watchman, we are bringing you on the ground, breaking news perspective of the situation in southern Israel as Hamas escalates their terror war against Israel. We're going to start with our good friend, Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Conricus of the Israel Defense Forces, who gave us a breaking update of the situation right here in Ashkelon, where again, less than 24 hours, 1 man was killed, 2 severely injured by a Hamas rocket attack right over my shoulder. Take a look. We're here with the international spokesman for the IDF, Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Conricus. Jonathan, tell us the latest. This is a major escalation by Hamas.
Well, Hamas and the Palestinian Islamic Jihad have obviously made a deliberate decision to fire a massive amount of rockets. They hide their rockets behind civilians inside the Gaza Strip, and they aim their rockets at Israeli civilians, and the result, unfortunately, sometimes is like this. They have fired more than 400 rockets in less than 24 hours, which is a massive amount of rockets.
The biggest onslaught since 2014,
Definitely one of the biggest, if not the biggest. And what we see is a deliberate effort to kill our civilians, to use weapons indiscriminately. What we're doing is a few things. We're defending in the air using the Iron Dome system, which has been very successful despite what we see here. More than 100 interceptions of rockets that were on target to hit similar areas like this in Ashkelon, in Sderot, in Netivot, in other communities in Israel. That's one aspect which is so far doing quite well. Of course, we want to avoid situations like this, but that's one aspect. Second aspect is how we defend on the ground. We know that Hamas and the other terrorists will try desperately to cross the border and to attack either Israeli communities or to attack Israeli troops. So we have enhanced our capabilities on the ground to make sure that we deny them those capabilities. And the third thing would be our offensive efforts that we have done. So far we have retaliated and we have struck 100, a little bit more than 100 military targets belonging to either Hamas or the Palestinian Islamic Jihad inside the Gaza Strip.
You mentioned that Hamas also trying to infiltrate the border, not only from the air with the rockets and missiles, but we have the terror tunnels and infiltration that way. Tell us how you're preparing for that.
Well, the terror tunnels, that's an interesting thing, because once upon a time, just a year or so ago, Hamas thought, and it was part of their strategy, that they have a secret way to overcome our defenses, or to undercome, if you'd like, our defenses, and to get into Israel and to pop up inside an Israeli community or close to an Israeli position and try to abduct Israeli soldiers or to kill Israeli civilians. That ability has been taken away from Hamas by the IDF. We have a new system in place where we are able to detect and subsequently destroy tunnels dug by Hamas while they are being dug. And this is not only me saying it, we have proof of purchase, so to say. We have destroyed 17 terror tunnels that Hamas has dug from inside Gaza, inside Israel, violating Israeli sovereignty. So we've destroyed 17 of those, and that is probably one of the reasons for Hamas's desperation. They are desperate to do what they're doing, to fire such a massive amount of rockets towards our civilians. It indicates that they are desperate, that they are trying to leverage whatever capabilities they have. We, of course, will not tolerate that.
Yeah, Jonathan, another facet to this is that Hamas and Islamic Jihad in Gaza, Iran-backed terror organizations.
Sure, there's a common denominator here. Most of the negative things, most of our enemies that we face, whether it is Hezbollah in the north, the Revolutionary Guard, Iranian Quds Force in Syria, or Palestinian Islamic Jihad in Gaza, or Hamas for that matter, a common denominator behind the scenes, pulling strings, giving money, providing weapons, providing guidance, explosives, trainings, etc. All of that is done by Iran, and that is why we speak so much about Iran. We try to highlight to the international community what a menace Iran is, how dangerous they are, not only for Israel, but for regional stability. What they're doing is very dangerous, and part of the weapons that have been fired now over the last day towards Israeli civilians, they originated in Iran. We in the IDF, the men and women in uniform, our task is clear. We know what our job is. It's to defend the people of Israel. But really, it's admirable, really commendable, the resilience, the resolve by which Israeli civilians are patient and are able to keep their cool, keep their focus. The sad situation is that on the other side of the border, a few miles away, is an extremist Islamist organization that wants death and destruction. And we're trying to deal with that situation to provide stability and a sense of security for our civilians, but to make sure that Hamas is always on the back foot, feeling targeted, and that we have good intelligence which will allow us to target accurately what we need to target.
Well, Jonathan, we are with you. Keep up the great work, my friend. Thank you so much. We're here with Mickey Rosenfeld, international spokesman for the Israel Police Force. Mickey, horrible scene here in Ashkelon. One person killed, 2 more injured. Tell us about the latest in this Hamas onslaught against the communities of southern Israel.
Well, here at the moment in the southern part of Israel, heightened security is continuing, and that means extra police officers in and around all major cities in the southern part of Israel. That includes Beersheba, Ashkelon, Ashdod, as well as Sderot, all of the different cities, as well as open areas. Our main aim is to prevent any further attacks from happening, but if they do, and if there'll be further rockets that will land inside Israel in populated areas as we are here at the moment, our units will respond accordingly. Unfortunately, last night 1 man was killed.
Right behind us.
Right where we are, you can see the impact and the devastation inside. A rocket hasn't landed inside the city of Ashkelon, but let's not forget there were more than 400 rockets that were fired, more than 100 intercepted, and not every rocket that's fired inside Israel you can prevent from landing inside populated areas.
And you see the people of Ashkelon here, Mickey, profoundly impacted by this, obviously. It seems that Hamas is increasing the range of its rockets and missiles. How big of a danger is that? I think of Haifa, Tel Aviv, Jerusalem. Could they go even further than Ashkelon?
Well, that's one of the scenarios that we have to think about and we have to be, of course, ready for. The possibility that rockets could be fired deeper into Israel. We do know that that has happened in the past where there were rockets that were fired in Tel Aviv. The threats that exist here in terms of terrorism are the same threats that exist inside America as well. That's right. We know how to work together, each one on their own areas.
And Israel is the first line of defense for the West against Iran and the rest of the radical jihadi forces here.
That's right. Here in the Middle East, the Israeli nation and the Israeli army is no doubt leading the way as to keeping the area, the region safe. both in terms of the strategic changes in Syria as well, ISIS in the south of Israel, and I'm talking about in the Egyptian area. So we're stabilizing the region and making sure that things are safe, and of course working together with our, of course, allies in the United States.
Mickey, you guys are doing a great job, the Israel Police. Thank you so much for joining us. Keep up the great work.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate it. Where I am standing right now, less than 24 hours ago, this is it. This is where a direct hit from a Hamas rocket struck. In this apartment building, you see the chaos, the rubble, the destruction right behind me. In this very apartment, a Hamas rocket fired from Gaza struck. One man was killed. 2 women were severely injured as a result of this horrific terror attack. Right now, we're bringing it home to you here on TBN. This is tangible. This is what it looks like, the aftermath of one of those Hamas rocket attacks. The people who live in this apartment building, their lives are ruined forever. People died here, and this is part of that Hamas terror onslaught. Over 400 rockets, missiles, and mortars fired in the past day alone. Thankfully, the Israel Defense Forces are responding, but we need to keep the people of southern Israel in our prayers.
Coming up, Jerusalem Mayor Nir Barkat shares how Hamas can be stopped. Plus, the Watchman team takes cover inside a bomb shelter. You won't want to miss this. Don't move.
In 2017, Kufi began speaking out publicly and behind closed doors to urge the White House to fulfill the promise made by every president for the last 2 decades. Move the U.S. Embassy to the capital of Israel, Jerusalem. In 2018, we witnessed history made in large part because you spoke out. On May 14, 2018, 70 years after Israel's rebirth as a modern nation, Pastor John Hagee prayed over the opening ceremony for the new Jerusalem Embassy. Today, for your gift of any amount to support Kufi's ongoing work to defend and bless the Jewish state, we will send you this limited edition commemorative coin in honor of how your voice helped move the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem. The president heard you, the world heard you, the Jewish people heard you, and Israel's enemies heard you. Visit our website at www.kufi.org/coin and ensure you receive a reminder of the miraculous role you played in making history.
Folks, we're at this bomb shelter in Sderot. We just had an alarm go off, a siren warning that Hamas rockets were on their way. Thankfully, they did not land. But this is what the people of southern Israel and cities like Sderot live with every day. You have less than 15 seconds to get to one of these bomb shelters. Our team ran in here along with several other people. Thankfully, it looks like the alert has passed, but this is reality here in southern Israel, in Sderot. Hey everyone, Erick Stakelbeck here. We are in Sderot, Israel. We're in the midst of this Hamas terror onslaught. We are with the mayor of Jerusalem, Nir Barkat. Mayor, welcome. Great to have you with us.
Thank you very much.
Tell us about the situation right now in southern Israel. This is one of the biggest Hamas escalations we've seen in years, and I know it's important because you're here on the ground.
Well, in the last 24 hours, we've been hit by hundreds of missiles, targeting innocent civilians, schools, residential areas, like you see here, disrupting our lives. And can you imagine a second living in Paris or London, and you have hundreds of rockets hitting and disrupting our lives in the Tower of London, in the Louvre?
Yeah.
How would Europeans react? You better figure it out, because if we look backwards in history, terror that is starting in Israel goes back and haunts Europe in a few years from now.
That's right.
And so when people target innocent people, they don't distinguish between Jews, Christians, Israelis, Europeans or Americans. And the world has to work together against radical Islam in general, and specifically the terror organizations of Hamas.
Yeah, Mayor, I believe that Israel is the first line of defense for the West, fighting the good fight for all of us. What can be done about Hamas? This Hamas threat, Iran-backed Hamas threat, has been so persistent over the past decade plus in particular. What can be done? I know the IDF is ready, but this is a tough situation.
Well, the rule in the Middle East is be very aggressive and bad with the bad guys and really good with the good guys. Yeah. So while Israel's demonstrated that it knows how to create peace with Egypt and Jordan and always seeks relationships, we also know how to defend ourselves. And terrorists, we will fight them and win. The reality is that, well, we have Iron Dome, which certainly helps, but people cannot live this way. And I don't think anybody in the world would agree, no nation in the world would agree to be struck like we are and move on. We will fight and combat and beat the terrorists. We have no choice to do that, and we need the world to support us.
It's an existential threat. Talk about the resiliency. We're here in Sderot, a great community here in southern Israel, which has really borne the brunt, Mayor, over the past decade of a lot of this Hamas rocket onslaught. Talk about the resiliency of the communities in southern Israel.
The people in Sderot here are very powerful people. Their will to succeed and strengthen each other, very strong communal life. I just met the mayor of Sderot. They're very resilient. However, we will never accept this kind of neighborhood and this kind of relationship with the Hamas leadership. And the Hamas leadership will very soon understand that Israelis are tough, and we will win, like we won all the rest of the wars we had.
Mayor, you're busy right now. It's a fluid situation here in southern Israel. Last question, what can TBN viewers, what can our team at KUFI, Americans, the Christian population in America, the entire population in America, what can we do to stand with you?
I want to use the opportunity and say thank you to all of KUFI and all the friends of Israel around the world, and there are many of those, from the bottom of my heart. What we need now is to make sure that European leaders, mainly European leaders, like President Trump, that supports Israel and is willing to combat terror and evil, Iran and all of the radical Islam around the world, we have to join forces together, and the Europeans have to understand that if you do not stand with us now, it will haunt you later. Terror is global, and we have to fight it together. Everywhere there is terror, we all have to join forces and combat terror. We help the Europeans and the Americans have to help us when we're struck by terror.
Yeah, Mayor Barkat, thank you so much, folks. He was one of the best mayors Jerusalem has ever seen. We thank you, Mayor Barkat, and good luck in all your future endeavors. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for coming here. Thank you for your support.
We appreciate it.
Up next, get the inside story of how Israel's Iron Dome missile defense system is changing the game in the fight against Hamas. Stick around.
This year, 25 countries were represented at the 2018 KUFI Washington, D.C. Summit, the most ever in our 13-year history. They came and joined over 5,000 others in our nation's capital as we continue to stand in solidarity with Israel and the Jewish people. They celebrated and rejoiced at the annual Night to Honor Israel. At 4.3 million members, KUFI is the largest, most diverse pro-Israel organization in the nation. For Zion's sake, we will not keep silent. And for Jerusalem's sake, we will not be quiet. From near and far, we are one. From all over the world, we are united. We are KUFI.
Israel's Iron Dome missile defense system continues to intercept deadly rockets fired from Gaza. So how was this revolutionary system created? We talked to Dan Raviv, senior Washington correspondent for I-24 News, to get the inside story. Take a look.
We have so much going on, obviously, now in Gaza. Rockets flying, and the rocket threat, obviously, up north. Thankfully, Israel has Iron Dome, the anti-missile defense system. Now, Dan, you just wrote a great piece about it in Moment magazine, the inside story of Iron Dome. Where did this revolutionary system come from to begin with?
Well, it came from the brains of Israelis. And that's an important thing to point out, because I spoke to defense planners in other countries who said that over the years, when they considered small rockets that the enemy might fire, that wobble in the air, they're erratic. They could be mortar shells, they could be homemade rockets that cost barely $100 to make. How do you possibly track them and knock them down? People in other countries said, we concluded we couldn't do it. And when I asked the Israelis who worked on the team, who were just ready to tell the story, they said they faced the same attitude at the beginning. It was hard to get financing. The Israeli Defense Ministry experts said, these are erratic targets. There is no mathematical program. There is no physics formula to track how it goes. And they thought there is. And so it's just sheer genius that they thought that it could happen. They were determined to get it done in barely 3 years, and they did. And lastly, that it come in not just under budget, but that each shot, when you fire an Iron Dome interceptor, historically, those kind of smart interceptors that have actually a computer inside, they cost about $1 million each. They got the cost down to about $60,000 each, and that's to save lives and property.
You spoke to the godfather, I guess you would say, of Iron Dome. Tell us about the real brain behind the system.
Well, he's the project manager, Hanoch Levin. And Hanoch Levin is not going to claim that he's the world's leading physicist, but he got the best physicists, the best thinkers, the best engineers to join this team in a company that's majority owned by the Israeli government. It's called Rafael. It's in Haifa, that beautiful coastal port city, and for many years, in fact, Israel has developed its weapons, both offensive and defensive, there in Rafael and in other companies. Hanoch Levin, as the project manager at Rafael, refusing to believe that it can't be done. That's typical Israeli behavior too. And then getting the smartest people, a lot of them, by the way, immigrants. Some of them from Argentina, some from the former Soviet Union. We have here some engineering breakthroughs, the kind that would win patents, except the design is secret, so they didn't file for a patent. And then you had, for instance, the couple. You saw in my article, Eric, there's a husband and wife from the former Soviet Union. Both of them mathematical geniuses, did almost all their studying in Israel, and they came up with the algorithms which predict which way a mortar shell or a cheap flying bottle, basically containing explosives, might go. And the algorithm is predicting what's the likelihood that it's going to wobble to the left or to the right, and then with each passing second, what's the possibility that the incoming rocket is going to hit something? They decided not to waste money, so they don't fire at incoming rockets that aren't going to hit anything, just going to land in the water or an empty desert. The Israeli Iron Dome system doesn't even fire. That's something that the Americans really could use to save money. And believe me, America's interested.
You have under 15 seconds, folks. Imagine that. Under 15 seconds to find a bomb shelter when the alarms, the sirens go off, and to save your life, to get to safety. We were in there with men, women, children, again, the film crews. It was a tense situation, to say the least, but guess what? This is real life right here in southern Israel as a result of this Iran-backed Hamas terror onslaught.
In spring 2019, join Holocaust survivor and historian Irving Roth on a once-in-a-lifetime remembrance tour through Poland. His story of loss, survival, and hope will bring the pages of history to life as you walk through the streets of the infamous Warsaw Ghetto, the silent barracks of Nazi death camps like the one where Irving slept at Auschwitz, and the memorials to the heroes who risked their lives to rescue their Jewish neighbors from Hitler's evil plan. You'll be inspired and challenged to put your faith into action. You'll have the opportunity to interact with the local Polish Jewish community and meet with the daughter of a famous hero of the Holocaust, one of the righteous among the nations honored by the State of Israel. Take advantage of this rare opportunity to walk with and learn from Irving Roth as he takes you on a journey of his memories of life before, during, and after the Holocaust. To register for this historic trip to Poland with Kufi and Irving Roth, go to the Kufi website and sign up today.
And welcome back to the Watchman. We are wrapping up from the great city of Sderot in southern Israel. Now behind me, once again, you see the scenes of destruction as a result of this Hamas rocket barrage. A rocket hit right where I am standing last night, just last night, less than 24 hours ago here in Sderot, and you see the damage. It hit actually a gas line. There was a major explosion here. The flames were roaring for hours. That is a result of these Hamas onslaughts, the rocket barrages, hundreds of rocket barrages in less than 24 hours. And guess what? The brave people of Sderot have been dealing with this for over 10 years. Thousands and thousands of these Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad, Iran-backed terror rockets have struck this city over the past decade. So what we're seeing here in November 2018 is just the latest onslaught. Folks, our team at Christians United for Israel is getting on the ground here in the hot spots like Sderot. We are bringing you the truth and the inside story about what the people of Israel are facing. Look, Israel is a safe place. It's thriving, but at Israel's borders, the barbarians are at the gates, whether it's Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad in Gaza, whether it's ISIS and the Iranian regime and Hezbollah in Syria and Lebanon. There are very vicious, very deadly terror groups that are seeking to wipe the state of Israel off the map. That's where you and me come in at Christians United for Israel. We are 4.5 million members strong. We're growing every day, America's largest pro-Israel organization. And for Zion's sake, we will not remain silent. The book of Isaiah says that we are to comfort God's people, the people of Israel. That's exactly what we're going to do. So pray for the people of southern Israel, the brave people of southern Israel, these great communities like Sderot, Ashkelon, Ashdod, all the kibbutzes around southern Israel, because they are in the bullseye of the terror group Hamas. And we hope that Hamas, Islamic Jihad, and Iran, their backer, are weakened. But in the meantime, the people of Israel, as you saw today, are strong, resilient. The Israel Defense Forces are strong and resilient. But let's keep them in our prayers. Thanks for joining us this week from southern Israel. We're in the very middle of a Hamas rocket barrage. Pray for the peace of southern Israel. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Until next time, God bless you. And remember, never hold your peace.